Hello, my dear students. How are you? Hope all is good. I have to thank all my students and my followers for their praise and their kind words. Today, we are going to speak about an important topic called bias. Bias is an opinion that affects an author's piece of writing. What does it mean to be biased? Biased, in the definition, sometimes, when we feel so strongly about something, we want to persuade others to share our feelings. That's what we call as bias. Authors sometimes try to persuade the readers by writing in a biased point of view. Bias sometimes is positive, most of the time is negative, unfortunately. Bias is one sided preference for or against something. Since a biased perspective is not based on a solid facts, usually you just feel emotional about it, it can be unfair sometimes. For my students who have to read in literature and try to show which part in the book is showing or telling us as audience whether the author is biased or not, a biased standpoint mainly depends on writer's opinion, which derived from the writer's personal experiences, maybe, his culture background, maybe, and the norms of his society. What are the types of bias? We generally have three types of bias: maybe unconscious biased, maybe hindsight biased. Unconscious bias, it refers to the bias of prejudice and the existence without awareness or deliberate intention. It comes from the back mind of the writer. It's mainly driven by social stereotypes, which makes the person hold an unconscious belief about various social and identity groups. For instance, racial bias, gender bias, which I hate, age bias are examples of unconscious bias. Hindsight bias is number two type of being biased. The writer is biased when the person uses the quote of "I told you so," told you. This is a hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is a tendency to perceive events as more predictable or obvious after they have occurred. The authority of being biased. He knows everything because he has a funny hat. That's an authority bias, and this is number three type. Authority bias refers to the tendency to attribute greater credibility to opinions expressed by authoritative figures or institutions. An example is when your doctor tells you to lose weight by cutting down on a carb and starting exercise regime. You are more likely to do it because he's your doctor and probably he knows better than your parents who said the same thing last week. Oh, authority bias also is harsh, but a person's perspective can also be influenced by the media. And this is what we all face nowadays. Media bias refers to the inherently subjective process. Media bias involves a selection and curation of information presented within the media. It can lead to inaccurate, incomplete, and misleading reporting. If you think that you learned something new, stay tuned for more about being biased or fair. And that's what we will have next. If you learned something, thumb up for like. Don't forget to drop a comment. I'll answer you. If you have any query, share with others and subscribe by ringing the bell. All the latest will come to you. All what we learn with Miss Karima is language and literature. See you soon. Bye.